So I've asked a lot of people I work with to journal and discover their stumbling blocks to their health success. Turns out, sauces and condiments surprisingly top the list in overlooked calories and harmful chemicals. Sauces, spreads, and condiments can make or break any health program. No one wants to eat boring and dry food, but by making just a few simple swaps, you don't have to. In the Brain Warrior's Way cookbook, I have over 17 simple, nutritious condiment swaps that serve as delicious alternatives to some traditional health-stealing favorites. I have no intention of eating a diet that makes me suffer, so I don't expect you to either. Here are 3 of my favorites. Aioli sauce is very versatile. It's something we use a lot. It's very simple to make. You can either use vegenaise, or you can actually, if you're a purist, use a homemade mayo, which I have a recipe for in the Brain Warrior's Way cookbook. So you use about 1/4 cup of vegenaise or homemade mayo, about 1/4 cup of some sort of sugar-free type ketchup, or you can even use tomato paste, or even blend up some tomatoes to do that. And then just a few spices, which it's just so simple. You use some onion powder, some garlic powder, a little bit of sea salt, and then some chipotle. I like to use an ancho, so any kind of your favorite chili type powder. So I'm gonna add a little bit of sea salt. Now it's really to taste. I only put about 1/2 teaspoon, but some people like no salt and some people like to add more. So then I'm adding a little bit of onion and garlic powder. I have these pre-measured for you. And then a little bit of the chili powder. Now with the chili powder, this is where you want to adjust based on who you're serving. If you're serving kids, I would go less, maybe 1/4 teaspoon, and you can add. If you really like a kick, you can go up to a teaspoon with this. Add that in, and then all you're gonna do is just mix that up, and you can whisk it, mix it with a fork. It actually blends pretty easily. I'm just gonna use a spoon right now, and then I'll whisk it after I get that going. And really, it takes about 15 to 30 seconds of whisking. Once you do that, just spoon a little bit into your serving dishes. And the reason I love this so much, it's great with grilled artichokes or our favorite chicken wings. It's really great with wraps, anything that you want a little bit of a kick with. And you can make extra and store it. So that's what I like about it. Just put it in an airtight container, whatever you don't use, and then you can just store it for future use. Next up is one of my favorites, pesto sauce. But this is a pesto sauce that you'll be able to eat if you have a dairy allergy, because there's no cheese in it. So you can either use cilantro or basil, and since I love the smell and taste of basil, we're using basil today. So 2 cups, you want to pack it into the cup to make sure you have enough. 2 cups of packed basil, put it in a food processor. So I'm gonna add actually 1/2 cup of hemp seeds. That's gonna make up the bulk. It's gonna make it bulky and give it that sort of texture. 1/2 cup of hemp seeds, which are really healthy for you. They're a great cancer fighting agent. 2 tablespoons of fresh lemon juice. Then I have this mixed in here. It's actually some white pepper and salt to taste, some sea salt, but this really is to taste. So I'm gonna start with about 1/2 teaspoon of salt just to give it some flavor, and if you want more, you can add more. The pepper, depending on your family. If you've got little kids, you might wanna start really light. 1/2 teaspoon usually doesn't make it too spicy, and then just sort of go from there. You might even wanna start with 1/4 teaspoon and just add. Throw that in. About 1/2 cup of olive oil. Olive oil is really good for you. We're not into low-fat diets. Just make sure you're eating it and not cooking with olive oil. And then this is optional. I'm gonna add some nutritional yeast, okay? Optional, but it's gonna give it that cheesy flavor. And if you're a vegan, nutritional yeast actually has like all of the amino acids. So it's really a good option for supplementing. Throw that in. And last but not least, my favorite, garlic. So put in about 4 cloves of garlic. I like large cloves of garlic. Put the lid on and mix it up. Okay, I'm just gonna make sure that all of the basil got down into the mix so that we don't end up with big leaves. And I'm gonna blend it one more time. don't want them stuck on the sides and you get big chunks of basil. That's it. Put it into a nice bowl. Pesto is great on lots of things. So obviously the traditional thing that you put pesto on would be something like pasta. So you can use it on things like, we would recommend shirataki noodles, which are a pasta that, it's a noodle that is not gonna make you sick. It's actually pure fiber and they're really healthy for you. So that's one option. But really pesto makes a good dip as well. So really tasty. As you can see, there's nothing in here that is going to hurt you or anyone you love. It's really healthy. Wonderful ingredients that are nutritious, delicious, and brain boosting at the same time. Basil, did you know, actually is one of the healthiest brain herbs. Good for memory, focus, energy, as well as being an antioxidant. So very anti-inflammatory. And there you go. Simple, delicious, nutritious. You've got pesto. And another super simple dip, lemon basil dip. What I'm gonna do with this one is take some peas. I use frozen peas and just thaw them out because it's the easiest thing to do. Some organic peas, dump them in a food processor, about 1.5 cups. Then I'm gonna take some yogurt. Now I don't do cow's milk yogurt because it bothers my stomach. So I use a little bit of sheep's milk or goat's milk yogurt. For a fun twist, you can actually use coconut milk yogurt if you're vegan. It actually tastes great. It's just sort of a refreshing taste. Get the unsweetened version. Dump that in. The juice of 1 lemon, okay? And for purposes of filming, I'm separating this. And you're gonna do the zest of 1 lemon. So I would usually use the same lemon, obviously. Now, for some people, if you don't know what the zest is, just get a little grater and you're gonna very lightly just go around. You don't wanna go too deep because you don't want the bitter part of the lemon. This is just to give it that sort of lemony, citrusy essence, and you're just gonna sort of go around the whole lemon. You're gonna add about 2 tablespoons of fresh basil and some salt and pepper to taste. Blend it all up and you've got lemon basil dip. I like to actually use this for dipping veggies. It's just a great dip for veggies. Voila. It's a beautiful, delicious dip for serving for company, kids, very popular and versatile. By making simple swaps like these and removing extra calories, harmful chemicals, and food additives, it'll make all the difference in your journey. Here are a few more tips that are gonna make a big difference for you. Replace mayonnaise with hummus, replace ketchup with salsa, replace gluten-filled soy sauce with low-sodium tamari sauce, replace butter and cheese with avocado, and replace commercial salad dressing with a little lemon and olive oil. My clients have told me that by giving them these simple tips when they're in restaurants or traveling on the road, it has literally transformed their health. For more tips like this, join us by becoming a brain warrior. Click on the link below and read the full list of the Brain Warrior's Way, tips, tools, and success strategies.